my name's Joe Huxley. I'm Director of Regional Strategy at FSD Africa. I think the FSD network is a tremendous asset, not just for financial markets in Africa, but also to one another. There are 10 FSDs across sub-Saharan Africa who are all quite siloed and focused on their own work. And when they start talking to one another, these sister organisations are much more of a family. And I think rather than get advice from lots of expensive consultants, 140 staff talking to one another, £350 million worth of funding from 9 different donors. It's a tremendous resource, and I think we can be our own best resource to the financial markets in Africa. So the first thing I think that's unique about FSD Africa is that we're regional. So we have to have a credible presence in a way that understands all the countries in Africa in which we operate, and we know the people and institutions in these markets well enough so that we can advise and change their behaviours in a way that benefits growing companies but also poor individual households. The second thing I think is really interesting about FSD Africa is that we work on long-term finance. So not just finance for individual people and households, but for growing companies that need capital to develop and employ people and reduce poverty through job creation, but also infrastructure projects that Africa critically needs. So capital markets and capital market development in a very inclusive way is something I think distinguishes FSD Africa. So I think we might see more FSDs. We operate outside the FSD network at the moment in Sierra Leone, DRC and Zimbabwe. We might see some of that FSD Africa activity crystallize in the form of new FSDs. So I think that's one trend. Obviously we're seeing financial inclusion or financial exclusion decrease. So I think we need to improve the quality of people's access to make sure that access is cheaper, much more easily available and really useful for their day-to-day activities. We focus very much on access and numbers. I think we need to link that to real problems and challenges people face. And then the third thing, I think refugees is a really interesting topic that's not going to go away in the next 10 years. Refugees are often the most financially excluded of all populations across Africa. There are 9 million refugees in FSD countries, and I think some of these people are the most vulnerable people in Africa. They've just moved from their homes, they're in a new country. They need the support of the financial sector to help manage their financial lives. I think it's not going to go away. I think lots of them are going to be relocated and displaced for a long time. So we can use financial markets and refugees can become clients of financial service providers in a way that improves and supports their well-being and their livelihoods. It's been pretty hard to pull together. So there are 104 people here, and you can imagine it's a bit stressful to get everybody in one place. But it's been totally worth it. The content is really good and really interesting, particularly today on where the network's going to go in the future. But the most important thing for me is that it strengthens our family. Breakout groups, informal sessions, or around coffee, tea, dinner, I think help knit together the people in the network that makes our network quite special. So I don't know whether we'll do it again next year, but I certainly think we'll do it again because I think it's so valuable.